Hi there. I wanted to talk a little bit more in this video about what I discussed last time in terms of the current events around Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. There's a lot of interest around this now. I do believe that the general public, the mainstream, is now becoming much more sensitive and aware, and they can see now more and more the structure, the mafia style structure of how our world's elite. Okay, they're not really elite, they are hoarders of money, and they are often psychopathic either by birth or they have been traumatized in their childhoods to reduce empathy. This has been touched on a lot by David Icke, how he discusses the mentality of these people and why they're able to take and take and take from their human brothers and sisters. They have a completely different structure in their minds. And Prince Andrew, I believe, is only the very tip of the horrific iceberg of what these people are really up to. You know, I believe that it's happening in a very harmonious way, these exposures. And by that I mean we're getting in the mainstream media, or the general public is receiving what I believe the general public's mentality can handle. So Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew and men like him were using young girls, young adolescent girls, for their own sexual desires and appetites. Already that is horrific, because what they needed to do to groom these girls, they had to use emotional manipulation. And you know, we're talking about children whose minds have not yet developed. Even fully adults can be manipulated, but it is horrendous what has happened. However, it gets worse. You know, what we're dealing with on the scale of child sex trafficking and slavery on this planet is an incredibly challenging thing to discuss, to uncover, to realize. And I do believe that with Weinstein and now with Prince Andrew and Epstein, we're getting the tip of the slime mountain, I guess I can say. And awakening comes in various stages. And I know for myself, I had to first see the corruption of the general society. I had to look at how politicians and world leaders are complicit in drug trafficking and also in the trafficking of human beings and minors and children. And there's this network, this web of just very sick individuals that have been controlling our world, and we have been complicit in this by our ignorance, by not knowing that we elect leaders into office to govern our lives who have incredibly sick desires and habits. So it is incredibly important and wonderful and fascinating that this exposure is happening, because for so long now, so many years, it's been done underneath this veil. And because the controlling people that I'm discussing control the media as well. I mean, they basically control all of mainstream institutions. They control religious institutions, education institutions, financial institutions, and also media and information has been controlled by these people. It's a small percentage of people who've been controlling our world, and by controlling our institutions, they control our information and what we receive as children, basically our programming to keep us complicit, compliant, and always feeding the machine, feeding their needs. These people survive off of vampiring. They vampire our energy, they vampire our physical resources, they vampire off Mother Earth. So I think it's very, very, very fascinating to now begin to witness the exposure that's happening, because the more people become sensitive to their own emotions and their own bodies, the less they're able to ignore what is happening with our human brothers and sisters. around the planet. We are one species. We are all connected, and we've been living in an illusion of separation. But now it's really speeding up now. The more our eyes are opening to what's going on around us, and also struggle. So many of us have been faced with immense struggle as our society crumbles. We are facing job loss, addiction, emotional and mental illnesses and disorders, homelessness, financial ruin, sexual abuse. We are a people who have gone through a tremendous amount of trauma, and we're ready to heal. People are ready to heal. I think as they see that the structures of our society don't work, they're not working anymore, they are crumbling around us. As more and more people can see this, it's easier for us to receive information about these institutions and about these world leaders who are so very, very corrupt and so very, very sick. They are mentally ill, and we need to stop participating in getting them into places of leadership, all of them. We like to pretend that one group is better than the other. You know, I've heard so many times, I used to say it's better the lesser of two evils. It's not. What's better is no evil, and not giving our energy to evil. But people first have to see it, because it's all about our beliefs and what we believe, and we've been taught to respect authority. We've been taught that others are supposed to save us, whether this is through government, you know, and politicians, or our religious leaders, or even our religious prophets. You know, the savior of Jesus or Muhammad saving us. I'm not really sure how these work, but we're supposed to save ourselves. This is how this is going to function, because we've been living too much like passing off responsibility. And we're supposed to, I really don't even like to use that word. What I have come to find is that true liberation, mental liberation, spiritual liberation comes from within, and from analyzing our own behaviors and analyzing what we do to sabotage ourselves, but also how have we been uncaring and how have we been narcissistic in our own lives. By doing this work and by working with our own inner pain and inner shadows, that's how we become well. And as we become well in a collective and support each other more and more, we aren't going to stand for this sort of corruption. And I am really disheartened by the high level of abuse that takes place. And as I learned about this stuff a couple years ago when I was going through my own healing, I would often get emotionally sick and nauseous when I found out some of the things that have been going on behind the curtain. And I think that spiritually speaking, spirit, the divine one, prime creator, or God, whatever words you want to use, the universe is orchestrating all of this in levels in terms of what we're ready to receive. So I think that's very fascinating that we're getting exposure on certain things based on what we can stomach. You know, because if all this exposure came out about the real shit that goes on, excuse my language, but it is intense. You know, they have orchestrated our societies so that they control our information and our belief systems. So we've been raised to not believe that certain things could even be possible. So I'm talking in terms of ritualistic satanic abuse, Satanism, the conjuring of demonic entities. This stuff is taking place on a high level in our societies, but we've been trained to not believe it. We've been trained to just pass it aside and think that, no, that stuff's just fairy tale or Hollywood. Who do you think controls Hollywood? We're talking about high magic here. But this magic's being utilized in very, very cruel and very egotistical ways. So people are using their natural ability to manipulate energy and work with energy, but they're using it for their own personal needs and gains instead of using it to heal or to pray for others or anything that would be considered a more positive vibration. It's important for us to learn about this stuff. I think it is our responsibility as young people, as any person of any age, because we need to begin to support each other and also teach our children to become more conscious and to not just believe what institutions have been saying, because all we need to do is look at who controls these institutions and their track record, right? So I say bring on the light, expose everything, and I know it will be exposed. And the more that this exposure comes out, the more us people together as a group are going to come together to support in a mass healing. I'm thrilled. I love everybody that comes into contact with my videos, and actually I love everybody in the whole world. Okay, I just want to express love and support, and I can't wait for more of us to heal and to have abundant, beautiful lives. What we meant to come to do, right? We meant to be exploring and have adventures and love each other. So I believe that's right around the corner. It's on its way. So have a nice day, everybody. I'll update soon. Bye.